Mayo experience.
Mayo experience. That Mayo experience. That Mayo experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience. Sunday Night Live, the Week 1 recap, Week 2 guessing the spreads, and of course, everything else in between, including who's not going to score, maybe not even the first touchdown for Sunday Night Football, but for Monday Night Football as well. Garion's on the line. Cust is in studio. I am so tired. I've been up since like 4 a.m.
Well, it was inevitable you were going to crash with the amount of caffeine that was coursing through your system at 1 o'clock this afternoon.
Yeah, Garion, did you happen to check out the Sunday morning chat?
No. How many coffees did you have this morning?
I had 4 large Americanos, all with an extra shot of espresso. So I had 20 shots of espresso this morning.
Wow. All right. So this is going to be a great show.
I've regained. I had like 30 chicken wings, so now I feel like I'm back in the mood.
Yeah, that's the exact balance you need.
Well,
4 Americanos with 30 chicken wings.
Then I can go home, and that will be it. Let's start with the Dolphins. Cuss gave out 8-1 in the room, Garion, when they got down 14-0 in that game, or 14-3, whatever the hell it was. And guess who took him up on his offer?
I mean, congratulations are in order then, I guess. Yeah, look, I wouldn't say I had a ton of confidence midway through the third quarter of that game. Thank goodness for Javon Holland. What a play, forcing that fumble by Travis Etienne. But yeah, look, I think that's almost like a microcosm, that game, of just this whole week in general, or at least Sunday. I know a lot of great teams play in primetime slots this week, so maybe we were left with like the dreck of the NFL offenses, but God, was some of this just sloppy, bad football.
Was there a good game?
Buffalo and Arizona was a good game.
Sure. Okay, there's one. I guess technically Jacksonville, Miami was like an all right game.
Colts and Texans was a good game.
Colts Texans was fun, yeah.
And that was it?
Yeah, that's kind of it. The rest were awful in various ways.
There was 2 safeties in the Seattle game. That was fun.
There were, but now they don't have the safety punt, which was devastating to people in the room.
Yeah, the same guy who took Tim up on his bet. Tim and Tim, our friends, have a series. Oh, you're already the hand in the face, huh? Yeah. Have a series of bets going on. Gary, you're familiar with the slushy bet, right?
Yes.
So that's Tim bets slushies with our friend Tim, or he gets to cash out the value of a slushie. But with inflation, is really screwing you, by the way.
I'm aware.
So how many slushies are you down to him right now?
Like 600 and some odd.
It was like 2,000 at one point, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't that many.
With what you've paid him out?
I can't remember. I can't remember the exact number.
And
I just know
Gary,
that
I feel like these aren't even going off the board that fast. I know for our keeper fantasy league, I think only one person ordered a slushie.
Yeah, it was quite impressive, the restraint people had.
And the other Tim called in Cuss to pay his entry fee for out of the slushy money as the payment for the league as well. But I want to talk a little bit more about Miami. You were really down on Miami, and look at them. Their defense came through in the second half.
The defense saved them. I mean, Gary mentioned it. Obviously, the Holland play was the play that was, the turning point. But the whole game, the offense, other than a couple of big plays, looked out of sorts to it. Did not look particularly sharp for most of the game. But the defense made some fantastic plays. And as the game wore on, I think the significant heat and humidity just affected the Jags, who were on that unshielded sideline, and they just wore down. And in the end, Sanders was finally able to make a kick, and the Jaguars lost. We'll see. I mean, if the Dolphins,
is this your time?
The Dolphins need to
is
play.
This your time to admit that you don't actually know the Dolphins' defensive roster, or you didn't know the Dolphins' defensive depth chart going into the season?
I knew a few of the players. I mean, they lost so many good players, Gary, and
I keep saying that they lost Christian Wilkins
and Van Ginkel.
They lost one player.
Who had an interception touchdown today too.
Sure, but Van Ginkel was like their fourth rotation edge player.
My father used to love Van Ginkel. He was the heart and soul of the defense. When they lost him last year, it actually, I think, affected the Dolphins quite a bit late in the stretch. But look, that defense better be sharp because they have Josh Allen in 3.5 days, and they're going to need all of their tackling abilities to stop him.
So one of our other friends put in our group chat that the first weekend of the fall of Cuss, which you proclaimed it was, Garion's taken off the screen here. I don't know what the hell was going on. You claimed on the show this was your year, and this was the fall of Cuss. And it kind of was the fall of Cuss this week. So you had Notre Dame losing as, what were they?
28-point favorites.
28-point favorites. Every AFC East team won. The Jets are in last place. Every single former Jets QB went off today. Broadway Baker having a great game for the Tampa Bay Bucks. The only good player on your fantasy team was Tyreek Hill. This is bad news for tomorrow night, man. And there was very few injuries in the NFL. And now you got Aaron Rodgers coming up.
Yeah, but also San Francisco, who a lot of those players get hurt. So, yeah, it was not an ideal last 24 hours. I admit that. What do you want me to say?
I mean, you're saying more than Tom Brady.
Well, I could just
Yeah,
say, it's it's good when you don't take penalties.
You want to go forwards, not backwards.
Yeah.
That's something you're gonna have to work on during the week.
Yeah, no, exactly. You want to score points. That's important for an offense.
And then the pregnant pauses, like he was getting thrown to and just said nothing.
Yeah, I said it was. I reminded me of on our show when Jeff is too busy vaping to answer one of your questions.
Garion, by the way, he worked on this joke for a second because he brought that up.
Okay, sure.
So, and he said that the reason that our show is rated for adults only is because of nicotine use from Jeff in his vape.
Yeah, sure. That's why.
That's what Tim thought.
Okay.
And then he didn't realize that, quote, there was dope in that vape from Jeff.
People I know that
I mean,
vape,
look,
they
if you're
vape.
asking me, am I surprised that he actually didn't know that? No, I'm not surprised by that at all. But that's still delightful. I'm very happy about that. Thank you, Tim.
Okay, did you watch much of Brady on the Sound for that Cleveland-Dallas game?
Yeah, I watched a couple quarters. I didn't see the first quarter, which I feel like that was really when people were laying into him on Twitter. I would say, I don't know, the second and third quarters, I don't think they were disastrously bad, but, as you guys were already referring to, it's just the same 3 points over and over and over again. It's just negative plays are bad. Can't take penalties. 10 penalties. That's just not going to do it. But to be fair to Brady, I mean, I guess it's the weight of the contract, it's the heft of the name value, but maybe it was so mundane to me in the second and third quarters because that is most of like color analysis in sports. I just feel like there are very rarely guys who stand out because they are good. It is generally just a bunch of average sort of guys we've been listening to for the better part of the last 2 decades.
He did try to predict one play, and he got it completely wrong.
This is going to be a
running
run
back. Oh, they're going to run it here to the left. No, play.
Well, he also called for a punt when Brandon Aubrey nailed a 57-yard field goal at the end of the first half. No, again, I think it's just the stark contrast between him and Olsen. And Olsen was so immediately good at this.
Yeah.
But honestly, like the broadcast stuff, even later on in the second wave of games, I guess just because not a lot was going on in the Los Angeles game.
There certainly was not.
I had no idea. I was kind of like, oh yeah, I haven't heard from Romo yet today. Why were Romo and Nance on Raiders Chargers?
I believe Jim Nance wanted to start the year at home in Los Angeles and therefore didn't want to have to travel for a first game.
I thought he lived at Pebble Beach. Or does he just have a house at Pebble Beach?
Maybe, but I mean, still, that's a pretty close jaunt in terms of like where they could have sent him. They probably otherwise would have sent him to Buffalo for the Arizona game. That's where they put the number 2 squad.
They put our main man Ross Tucker on the
Yeah,
Buffalo game.
which makes
and then
sense.
they showed him playing for the Bills in like 2003 or something. And he had a fucking dirt face in the picture they had. He was like... Now, that may have been the only picture anyone had of Ross Tucker from playing over that period as like a backup offensive lineman. I feel like they did them real dirty.
Yeah. They should have sent him to the Texans and Colts. That was really the best game CBS had today.
I think that Tony Romo got a bunch of Botox and like not so recently in the past that he was still like this. He had a real shiny forehead. And I'm no stranger to a big, shiny forehead, Garion, but if I got Botox, you'd be able to like notice it immediately. And I think that Romo got
Again,
it.
I didn't even see his face. I feel like I saw none of that game. There was one shot of like J.K. Dobbins breaking away, and I was like, oh, I guess the Chargers are winning that game. Great. I have no recollection of anything that happened in that game. I had to check the box score to be like, oh, Devontae Adams and Brock Bowers have a bunch of catches. I don't know how that happened, but they certainly didn't score.
Was that when Dobbins broke away and was easily caught by multiple Raiders?
Yeah. He just ran out of gas.
He certainly did.
It was like that time Lendale White broke away from everyone, then the entire team got up to him.
Hadn't given up tequila yet.
That's true. He gave up tequila, lost 80 pounds apparently. That's a lot of tequila weight. you're carrying around with old Lendale. But with Brady, you kind of hit on it. Like, Olsen was really good immediately, or all the other guys that we normally have, especially in these big spots. They developed some sort of shtick. I mentioned to Cuss as we were watching it that Brady sounded like Troy Aikman 10 years ago when everyone assumed he had CTE. Like, he was just talking slow. He didn't say anything with any sort of substance. And his entire personality was the same as the Boom Goes the Dynamite guy. He'd be like, oh, Deshaun Watson, good pass. Pause. And they just wouldn't say anything. Who's it? Is Burkhead who does it with him?
Okay, TB.
It's like, yeah, thanks, TB. Let's throw to EA down at the sidelines here. We're really trying. Although the best part of the day was, I mean, I didn't know who DeMarvion Overshawn was anyway on, I guess, the Dallas defense, but he called him DeMorphion, which might be, it's not anyone's actual name, but might be the greatest name in the history of time.
It certainly amused us.
Pretty good one.
Imagine,
I mean,
DeMorphion Overshawn. That would be an amazing name.
But like Brady, this was always the weird thing for me with, I get that it's Tom Brady. So anything he does in the world of football, or really anything he does, period, is going to be newsworthy and noteworthy. But he was never someone who had like this glowing personality anyway. If anything, Brady was known for being like robotic and, just so driven by the craft and by winning, like almost to the point where he had no discernible characteristics outside of Tom Brady is a football player. So I don't know. Like, I know there was like the Netflix roast and that was fun, but I just don't envision him being like a fun guy. It almost feels like this is maybe a weird example because this guy is super charismatic, but he and Tom Cruise share like certain similarities in the sense of anything they do almost seems like an alien attempting to do something they think humans do. And I think this is Brady's impersonation of a color commentator.
That's pretty dead on. I actually think he's going to get better because I think that he'll take it serious. I think he's probably been practicing and he went over the most milquetoast things possible. And maybe he will show a personality. But I kind of agreed. I'm like, what is the thing that we know about Tom Brady? He loves to win. He trains 18 hours a day. He doesn't ingest sugar. And he brought his own lunch to Augusta National.
Basically. And was suspended 4 games for, tampering with the ball.
I mean, Greg Olsen was dropping bars at the University of Miami back in the day. Like, that guy's got a personality. He's a fun dude. Peyton's doing his own thing, but Peyton was always like a fun guy. Like, again, I think there's a reason that like Manning's episode of SNL is much more talked about and remembered than Tom Brady's version of SNL. I just think
with the football.
he did hit that kid with a football.
So Cleveland and Dallas, just in general. Dallas, like, really good, or is Deshaun Watson incredibly bad? He got booed after every incompletion.
I didn't learn much about Dallas in that game. I learned a lot about the Browns.
Learned that Turpin's real quick.
I already knew that. He's the fastest player in the NFL. Maybe Xavier Worthy's faster, but that's about it. I learned that Deshaun still can't play and that the magic sauce that the Browns had at home on defense maybe is not going to carry over in 2024.
I thought their defense played fine. It was like 2 drives that got him throughout the course of the game. And when the kicker has legit goal line to goal line range,
certainly does.
He just kick field goals every time you get the ball.
He should have kicked that 71-yarder. He probably would have made it.
I get why they didn't let him attempt it, but the fact that he was good from 66, just give him a shot.
I agree.
Like the Browns team that we saw tonight reminded me of that Jets team that the Browns played on Monday Night Football that time when they didn't even try to get a first down anymore. They're like, yeah, we'll just punt it back to you. You're not. Watson was either bounce passing it to everyone or throwing it 8 yards out of bounds over people's heads.
Absolutely.
It was outrageously bad.
A very poor performance. I don't know how many games, if you think the Browns are competitive, how many games you can let him ruin before you just can't play him anymore.
They have to play him, don't they, Garion?
For a few more weeks.
I don't see what their other option is. Like, I think that at this point, I mean, you're just so pot committed in a salary sense to this guy. I mean, again, there's what, 20 quarterbacks we consider to even be good anyway? It's not like another one is sitting on the bench for the Browns.
Jameis.
Jameis is the backup. Like, listen, Jameis isn't good. This we know. But at least he'll like air it out and give someone a chance to go up and get a ball. Like, fantasy-wise, I feel like Amari Cooper's useless at this point.
Well, no, I would say Jameis has a lot of similarities to what we were seeing from Joe Flacco in the second half of last season. Just like, hey, I'm going to air this thing out. And whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, Anthony Richardson has that vibe right now, and I'm loving it.
So Anthony Richardson. So I just want to say I lost a lot of money today. It was not fun. Use code Mayo at Underdog Fantasy. Help me get some money back, by the way. That would be really nice. Deposit bonus up to $1,000 still. And you can still join that league until tomorrow night. There is $25,000 in the pool. That's down in the description. Please go do that. If you want to get your hands on some money, you should go do that. Underdog Fantasy. It's right behind me. You should go play on it. California, Texas, Florida for champions. You're in one of those states, and you can't bet. Underdog is where you need to be to play the pick'em game and lose every week like I do. Poor Zamir White got the best of me, but he owns 10 horses, 12 horses, as we found out.
Jaden Daniels scored a late touchdown again.
Did he really?
Yes, he did.
Yes!
That's 2
I didn't lose as much money as I thought.
He rushed for another one.
That is excellent news. The guy's a hero.
I think he's gonna be what Josh Allen was that first year in Buffalo, where the team is really bad, but he shows sparks of real talent.
They didn't
and that
cover,
in the
did they?
first off, no, they lost by 17.
Yeah.
But in the second second off season, he learns to become a better passer of the football and can really make strides. That's that's the best case for Jaden Daniels. Is that this is a learning year. The team's gonna be bad, but next year he could take a great leap.
Who scored the final touchdown for the Bucs? Yeah, 37-20 in that game.
I think Mike Evans had one too. I think he scored that last one.
He had a great
Because
early
Baker
touchdown
finished with
where he
4
just
TDs.
bullied Saint-Just.
Oh man, his first touchdown might have been the best touchdown of the day.
Just-
they were I've never seen a DB try to press a receiver and the receiver just pull him over and catch it while he's like being interfered with.
That was it wasn't the play of the day, but it was.
Okay, so the play of the day is where my gambling day went to the absolute shitter, Garion. Everything was coming up Mayo until 2 very specific plays in games that I was very highly leveraged in. One of them being my gold pick. The moment Will Levis decided to fucking backhand the ball to the Bears defense, it was it. It was over for me. I don't think props, betting, everything just the mo shifted the other way. Everything was coming up me. Then it all flipped back the other way. Just with that play alone, I had Tennessee. How did they not cover 4.5?
Levis.
I don't know.
And a punt block.
Chicago was awful in that game.
But Williams didn't make crucial mistakes.
He
threw a lot of incompletions. He didn't turn the ball over.
He threw a few that should have been a turn.
But
It's just
he
like CJ Stroud today. Should have thrown like 3
Yes,
picks.
he should have.
And didn't.
Levis, as soon as he flicked the ball, did this on the ground. Like he knew what he had done. It was so great. It's like, oh no,
And then
I've lost the game again.
Jaden Daniels almost did it in the Washington game too. The exact same thing. It's just he didn't have enough oomph on the flick and it landed short. Like, what I wanted to get to was, can we rank the first and second year quarterbacks based on performance here?
Sure.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Stroud's got to be number 1.
Stroud is number 1 with a bullet, and it's not even close. The only guy in his stratosphere today was Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, who's second, I think.
Yeah, I think he's a clear
But he
number.
also, like, the highs were so high and the lows are still so low. Like, he had Adonai Mitchell wide open for, like, 3 touchdowns and just overthrew him every single time.
Yeah, he was doing a Tua impersonation, overthrowing wide open touchdowns.
There was a lot of guys who had some
you
overthrows.
have to lash out.
Just saying. Tua missed a lot of passes today. What's his excuse?
He also threw for 340 yards.
Yeah, because Tyreek Hill made a fantastic catch and then an unbelievable play on the sidelines for that touchdown. That had very little to do with Tua.
Yeah, he's like he's not even there. Garion. They can put you out there and it'd be exactly the same.
Other moment of the day
Oh,
came
yeah.
from that game where we get to see Mike McDaniel's glasses.
Oh,
Those are great sunglasses.
Josh
Oh,
McDaniels.
they're amazing.
The guy's living the Miami lifestyle these days.
Yeah. He's like a year away from being Scarface. It's great.
Yeah. So Stroud, then Anthony Richardson. All of the other guys, especially Will Levis, and I don't understand why this didn't happen. There should be 3 plays that the Titans run. They should run out of the backfield because they have 2 pretty decent running backs. I mean, Pollard looked okay today. He scored the touchdown. Spears looked pretty good out of the backfield. They should just let him run or like turtle or do like little dump offs to the running backs or throw it 80 yards down the field. Fucking Moonraker out there throwing the sky ball. He should never throw the ball between 5 and 30 yards down the field because it's just a horrible pass every single time. If you're going to get picked, at least get picked 80 yards down the field. That's basically all Anthony Richardson did all game. He ran, they handed the ball off, and he took shots downfield.
I mean, that one throw Richardson had, the first touchdown, where
Off the back foot,
flat-footed he threw the ball
60
like 70
yards.
yards.
Oh, what a throw.
Oh, my God.
Gracious.
But Levis has a huge arm too. Like, just take it.
He does.
I get that DeAndre Hopkins is playing on like a broken kneecap and looking like he's wearing steel toe boots, probably on Pogey looking for work, having to make sure the government's not coming after him for not looking for work, probably accepting cash under the table for these games. But you still have Ridley. Just bomb it to him every time. Like, the Ravens did this when they won the Super Bowl. R.I.P. Jacoby Jones, but that was like their only play. It's like,
I
hey,
can't wait to see Will Levis next week against Gangrene.
we're going to run Garion, or we're going to throw it 60 yards downfield. Maybe he'll be picked. Maybe he'll catch it. But hey, best case, it's pass interference. Like, that should be the Titans' offense based on what I saw today.
I don't think you're wrong. I think it has been well established that Will Levis does not exactly have the greatest decision-making ability. That play today that was one of those ones that I wasn't watching that game. I saw it out of the corner of my eye, and I was like, I must not have seen what I think I just saw, because that would have been ridiculous. But yeah, I don't know how the Bears looked so bad in that game, and then to win it with a defensive touchdown like that and a special teams touchdown. And again, I think there are 4 teams I could legitimately say played well on offense today. And aside from the Cowboys, like, I don't want to take anything away from the fact the Saints almost scored 50 points, but it's clear the Panthers are just terrible. The Bills obviously looked really good, but Josh Allen.
Hold on. Was it clear that the Panthers are awful? Because all I heard on this show from everyone besides Cuss was, I think you took the Panthers, but you weren't. It was Jeff's super lock.
No.
It was Cam and Rob's gold pick.
No.
I don't know what these guys are smoking. I mean, I guess Jeff's hitting the vape, but I don't know what Cam.
Can we
and
put
Rob
Bryce last on this list of quarterbacks?
Okay, who was worse today? Bo Nix, Bryce Young, or Caleb Williams?
Bryce Young.
Bryce.
I mean, we didn't really watch that game.
We didn't need to.
Caleb Williams was terrible.
He wasn't terrible.
He was terrible.
He was not great, but he didn't turn the ball over, and they didn't lose the game. And
You claimed he got the game ball because he walked off the field with a ball in his hands.
It was a triumphant walk off the field. Look, he didn't play great today.
What do you think his stat line was?
Like 15 for 30.
For what and what?
115 yards, maybe 95 yards. That wasn't many, but he didn't make any crucial mistakes.
14 for less than 100 yards.
14 for 29 for 93 yards.
Okay, but no turnovers. So he didn't kill his
some
team.
of those Bryce interceptions today, like, my goodness. Like,
Bryce
I know
Young
it wasn't a
is
clean
last.
pocket often, but like, he was overthrowing Adam Thielen by like 10 yards. The safeties were just playing center field. I mean, legitimately today I was like, when can we bury Bryce Young? Like, I don't know if it's fair to do it yet. I guess you could put out the disclaimer that he hasn't had a great offensive line. He doesn't have fantastic weapons. This is like the second play caller he's had in his 2 years in the league, et cetera, et cetera. But he just doesn't look like he has it.
Great
And
PTI question.
Who's
in bigger trouble, Cleveland or Carolina with their quarterback? Because both are in a lot of
Cleveland's in bigger trouble because what they end up giving, I think that game's probably still going on somehow.
Because
Amari Cooper just dropped
Carolina
a
gave
touchdown.
up multiple first-round picks to get this guy.
But that doesn't matter. They're bad. They were the worst team in the league last year. They might be the worst team in the league again this year. Maybe it's 1 week, everything gets solved next week, and everything's fine. It didn't look that way because, listen, I picked the Saints to win the division. I don't think that the Saints are good. It was more a bet against everyone else in the rest of that division, and I got plus odds on it. If they were the favorite, I wouldn't have bet on them. But Cleveland's D has given up 33 points. I would say that their defense has actually played well. Like, their defense has been on the field the entire game. They've dealt with short fields, and they've given up, 2 touchdowns?
Yeah, I guess that's right.
And then one of them was a fucking kick return touchdown. Like, their actual defense has played pretty good.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried about the defense, but if this is going to be the offense that they're trotting out, like, they have legitimate stakes, and they owe a guy guaranteed $175 million. Did they bite the bullet like the Bills did this year and be like, fuck it, we're just going to have a season with $200 million of dead cap?
I don't know
We won't
what
even
you
field
do.
a team.
I don't know what you do.
I mean, in the span we've been talking, Deshaun Watson has overthrown a wide open Amari Cooper for a touchdown and fumbled again. So it's not getting better.
I hear that's not good. Is that not good? It's
Plus
not
the
good.
penalties. You don't want penalties.
Or going backwards.
I've got it on mute, but I feel like that's probably what Brady said.
I mean, he's already said that a few times. Bo Nix was bad, too.
Bo Nix was doing the check down machine thing that a lot of rookie quarterbacks
He had
do.
unfair expectations, I felt, coming into this game.
What? I feel like he had no expectations.
Really, I felt
coming
like
into this
people
game.
were starting to gin up some excitement about, Bo Nix, he's going to be good, he's going to make smart plays, he's going to be, it's going to be half decent, and I didn't see that today.
He got burned by Cortland Sutton once, and it felt like from that point on, when Sutton did, like, he had the ball in stride and it just went through his hands. From that moment on, it was just over for Bo Nix. Yeah. And it was just all check down city. He didn't have any faith to throw the ball downfield. Is that game still going on by chance? No, it's not.
No, that one's over.
Yeah, 26-13 was the final. 26-20.
Yeah,
Oh, fuck. They came
26-20.
back and pushed. Oh,
Knicks
devastating.
ran for a touchdown at the end.
Knicks
there.
ran for a touchdown. Yeah, 26 for 42 for 138. And just
At one point, I believe he had 9 completions and 22 yards.
well,
He
Jaleel
scored the touchdown.
yeah, I see that. Jaleel McLaughlin, he finished with 5 catches for 1 yard. At one point, he had 4 catches for negative 2 yards.
Kamara game.
Kamara had a game.
He should have.
like,
New Orleans rolled Carolina.
Well, when we guess the spreads here in a little bit, I'm curious to know like who they play and where they come in next week, because I actually don't know who they
I don't
play
know either.
at this point. Other things. Oh, Garion, you're a young man, but you're not so young anymore. We have an intern right now who's 27. Didn't know who Matlock was, and Cust was floored. Cust was on a rant
Didn't
today.
know who Columbo was either.
He didn't know who Columbo was, and he proclaimed that the new Matlock featuring Kathy Bates is going to be a big hit because Kathy Bates is a big star, Garion.
Oh, God.
She won.
I mean, again, I will say, this is the part of NFL Sunday that strangely I missed the most is just the new ads for terrible television shows. Like they've got new
Dr.
Baywatch.
Boat. No, Dr. Boat, whatever that show is. It has
No, they
Don
have
Johnson
Unsexy
in it.
Baywatch. It's going to be terrible.
No, that's a different one. Yeah, there's less sexy Baywatch, but there's like a doctor on a cruise ship show.
the Kathy
But
Bates
I'll
one
say
looks
this.
so
I
good.
know who Matlock is. I know who Matlock is. My grandma watched Matlock all the time. However, I think the way I best know Matlock is through The Simpsons. So that should at least be accessible because I think required viewing for all of humanity is the 2nd to 10th season of The Simpsons.
Do you know Columbo?
Yeah, I know Columbo.
Okay, all right.
Here's the difference. And what I think is happening here. The generational divide, Garion, is getting to the point. And I feel like you lean closer to us just over most people your age, is what I would guess. But you can just watch anything at any time. It's not like syndicate. I mean, syndication is obviously still a thing, but it's not like people just turn on the TV. It's like, oh, good. Seinfeld's on 3 separate channels at every half-hour interval throughout the course of the day. So I'm just going to eventually watch every Seinfeld episode when it comes on. Just that doesn't happen anymore. And there's so much content and new content that I don't have to watch Hogan's Heroes at 2:30 in the afternoon like I did when I was 14. It just doesn't happen anymore.
Hogan!
Like all those old shows stayed around for so long because we had nothing to watch.
I liked that show
Yeah.
too, by the way.
Fair enough. It's
It used to be
fine.
on. That's why I used to watch it.
Because it was on, just like George, because it's on TV.
Or the old Batman we talked about. It was on TV, so I watched it
yeah,
all.
Cust was getting mad that no one knew who Burgess Meredith was.
Well, he was the Penguin, for heaven's sakes. Or Cesar Romero, the original Joker.
Do you remember who the Riddler was?
What was his name? Oh, my goodness.
Frank.
Oh, I can't remember his name.
I can't remember his last name either. I just remember the King of the Hill joke.
I mean,
Frank died.
you had
Captain Frank.
Vincent Price was
I know.
Egghead.
Was
Eartha,
Egghead.
Eartha Kitt was Catwoman.
Yeah.
There
she
three.
was. There was multiple
Yeah,
Catwomen.
there was 3 of them. There was Eartha Kitt, Mayweather, and see, I'm getting old. My memory is going. Anyway, I thought that was fun. That you just assumed
Well, just these seems like cultural touch points that people
for old people, Tim.
were not
I
elderly.
mean, Pat nailed it though. It's you don't just have to sit around
It's
and
true.
watch whatever's on cable.
That
there's
is a good point.
There's more shows that have been created in the last
Frank Gershon.
10 years
Frank Gershon.
than there were for the entirety of 1950 to 1980.
Frank Gershon died. He played the Riddler, you know? Like, that was an obscure reference in 1998.
If you asked people who was the old guy who played the Riddler, I bet you these people would say Jim Carrey.
Yes, probably.
That's sad.
If they even
100%
remember that
they
Jim
would.
Carrey played the Riddler.
Oh,
the
come
movie came out
on.
in 1995.
That was a blockbuster movie, though.
It came out
It had Tommy
30
Lee Jones.
30 years ago, Tim.
I know, but it had stars.
And you
It
have the
had
cups to
stars.
prove it.
Paul wants to chime in here.
Jared's sitting next to me, and he didn't know that Jim Carrey was ever the Riddler.
Okay, that
Oh, come on. He was on the McDonald's cup, for heaven's sake.
Yeah, you got some in the mail. Your Batman Forever mugs. So
Tim,
I mean,
this
I've
just
seen Liar
happens.
I've seen all the big Jim Carrey movies, but it's
You haven't.
Touch
Because you
him.
haven't seen this one.
touch obscure, is not?
No, it's not obscure. It was a blockbuster movie.
Yeah, I would say a
terms of Jim
$300 million
Carrey movies.
Batman movie is not obscure, but
That might be the highest grossing movie he was ever in.
what?
Would be Batman.
Ooh.
It's not Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind.
No,
I'll tell you that.
Thank you. What would be his highest grossing movie? Liar would have to be up there. I feel like Dumb and Dumber would be up there as well.
Was that a
What-
commercial
was it-
box office hit though?
I believe so.
what was
Bruce
the, what was
Almighty
the
might
third one
actually
in
be
94?
Bruce Almighty might be the answer.
Yeah, Bruce Almighty.
What was
Maybe
the third movie in '94 though? Was it like did The Mask come after Dumb and
Cable
Dumber
Man?
and
It's Cable Guy.
Yeah, it's
it
Cable Guy.
was Ace Ventura, then The Mask, then Dumb and Dumber. I think all came out in '94.
okay.
I know I'm just trying to figure out which one was third.
Truman
'cause
Show,
I
yeah,
feel like
that-
that would be like the drafting.
People
one.
saw the Truman Show.
Yes Man was another one that I think just absolutely dominated at the box office. Although the new Sonic movie might have been. Yes Man is.
Yeah.
So let's see.
I
Gross.
still don't think it outdid Batman.
Bruce Almighty was $242 million.
Okay.
Wow.
Now what about Batman?
It doesn't seem to make the list
about
here.
Batman?
Oh, these are
Well-
for Jim Carrey. Well, I'm just looking at his highest grossing.
No, he wasn't the lead actor.
Liar, $181 million. That's pretty good. Let's see. Batman Forever. Oh, Val Kilmer. I forgot he was the star.
Yes.
It made. Let's see. What's the total here? Worldwide, it made 184 million. So way less than Bruce Almighty.
That is way less than I would have guessed.
It looks like you retroactively cursed Batman Forever.
I don't think I could do that. Though I did see that movie in the theater. I was fired up for it.
The Grinch is also one. That
Oh,
probably-
and that movie's
Oh, yeah,
terrible.
that's-
I watch it with my kids all the time. They love
That's
the
so
Grinch.
terrible, that movie. The animated movie is fantastic, but the Jim
Oh,
Carrey
God,
remake
this
is
is
so
it's one of
bad.
those rare situations where I vehemently agree with Tim.
Thank you, Garion.
Tim, who's not going to score the first touchdown tonight?
Jameson Williams.
People predicted that in the. Okay, I'm gonna pull. I went and opened that game before we went on, Paul, so I could bet it as soon as he said it. Oh, he's not even in the top 5 people here. 18-1, $100. Let's go. Pays $1,900. Who's not gonna score the first touchdown tomorrow night?
Kittle.
Me Timbers?
Yeah, he will not score.
Hey, there we go.
Interesting.
So Kittle, I'll have to look that one up in a sec because I have to close the app now because I can't cheat on the lines going forward. Anyway, I love that Atlanta sucked so
Oh.
much. Pittsburgh.
So bad.
Listen, why did I bet on Pittsburgh? What did I tell you during the show? Who had the best unit in the game?
Yeah. Although Atlanta's D, to give them credit, played all
Was
right.
Atlanta's D good or does Justin Fields suck?
They played all right. I thought Atlanta's D would actually be the problem. Anyway.
The
I
problem
mean, their
was
left tackle was the problem.
Oh,
because
my
TJ Watt
goodness.
was just causing fumbles.
We were talking about this in the room. It's like, you can't leave him one-on-one anymore. It doesn't matter that it's annoying to double team. He is going to burn him on every snap and ruin the game. You just have to put an extra person over there and just deal with it. Or roll,
He also
or
has
roll the
to be
protection.
the best edge I can remember at forcing fumbles. I swear
Oh.
half his sacks end in a forced fumble, at least.
and recovering them. He's good at recovering
Yeah.
his own
He was
forced fumbles
probably
too.
the best player in any of the games today, in my opinion. Like,
He
was
probably
the week-
affected the result of a game the
the
most.
most. I think he's the
could
week
agree
one
with that.
MVP. I think he was.
MVP.
Like the week one MVP. You know when they give like AFC and NFC player of the week?
You think he's going to be the? I would be.
He'll be the AFC defensive player of the week, no question.
Oh, I remember Tim
Except-
picked this guy. Sammy says I remember Tim picked Kittle last year, and he scored like 3 TDs in the first half. But I don't think he had the first one though.
Probably not.
Do you think he'll score 3 TDs in the first half
I
this
hope
time?
he doesn't score any. I hope they don't score a point.
So Atlanta overrated, or did they run into a buzzsaw defense, or is this line going to be a problem, or was TJ Watt the problem, and every team doesn't have TJ Watt?
I think it's more reflective of how talented Pittsburgh's defense is, and they can be what Cleveland was last year defensively, in terms of like the team you do not want to play who will just beat you up and down the field. But that being said, Atlanta really played poorly. Cousins did not look confident. They could not get Bichon going. Even though he had a bunch of yards, they couldn't get him going in terms of scoring. London did not make enough big plays.
Pitts caught a touchdown, but that's all
That was
he
it.
did.
Like, it was very discouraging. I don't know who the Falcons have next week, but they better show up.
The Falcons have Philadelphia next week.
Well, they better
in
show
Philly.
up because, oh boy. Although, that long travel from Sao Paulo, I guess that probably advantages a
Yeah, but
little.
they got back 2 days
Two
ago.
days ago. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's probably a wash then. But boy, oh boy, they better, and that's a Monday night game, I think, too.
That I don't know. Let's see.
Now I think about it. I think
yeah,
Eagles-
you're right. It is a Monday night game.
So Atlanta better win. They better they don't have to win. They just need to put up a good
I
show.
mean,
Because
I would say in the NFC South, you can start 0-3 and you're not even out of it. Really.
Probably.
I would say yes, but I'm not. Listen, Atlanta can most definitely still win the division, but for all the talk about just hearing from Falcons people how great the Falcons are going to be this year,
Tampa and New Orleans looked much better than they did.
but they also played significantly weaker competition.
Totally.
Like Washington was fun, but like they have no defense to speak of. Tampa scored on each of their first 4 or 5 drives.
A smart offensive coordinator will be prepared, you would think, for TJ Watt next week.
Maybe, and listen, or at least find a way to do something
You
where he
gotta
doesn't
take him out
affect the game in that way.
Run
And-
little
and-
screen passes over top of his head, something.
I mean, he usually jumps up and scores.
Well, you got to. You can't just stand there and let your left tackle get burned.
But like, was Kirk bad?
Yes.
Or was it that he had no time?
Both.
Because like Lamar had no time in the Chiefs game earlier.
Lamar can move. Lamar can move.
Like, what would you grade Justin Fields at in this game, Garion?
Oh God.
C plus, a B minus?
I would have said C.
Yeah, like a C minus. Like he was. Again, I don't think he had much impact on the result of the game. I mean, how many?
He fumbled and they got it back
early. Yeah.
early, and then he didn't turn the ball. Like that's all.
He did the Caleb Williams impression.
Well, he
didn't hurt the team.
Yeah, but Caleb Williams almost tried to actively.
But he didn't
Yeah,
in
but
the end.
Fields at least moved the ball.
Yes.
Like Caleb Williams had a D minus performance today. Like, he was
great 2-point conversion.
But
Oh,
also,
it was a nice pass.
Like how many yards did the Steelers actually finish with? Because I feel like 3 of those field goals were just created off of turnovers.
They were, but it seemed like Najee got himself going. Yeah, Najee had 70 yards on the ground. Fields ran for 57. Fields threw for 156, and Pickens had 85. Like, they moved the ball enough. It was all like the same guys doing everything all at the same time. Yeah. But every time they needed like a 3rd and 5, Fields just ran for it.
So you're going to turn to Russell Wilson next week?
That was going to be my question.
They play the Broncos. Do you want to turn to Russell Wilson?
Oh, revenge game?
Did you see? Like, I'm sure you guys saw it, but like, is there anything ever been more Russell Wilson than him wearing his full uniform?
I noticed
with pads?
that. I didn't understand why he was wearing full uniform with pads if he couldn't play.
Because he's dangerous, man. He's fired up. He's there for the boys.
Great. Whatever. Like, Pittsburgh looked really good. Pittsburgh was the most impressive team that I didn't expect it from today. So I give them that. They and Tampa were the 2 teams. Like,
I don't know if
I saw that coming.
Who was the worst team today?
Carolina.
Are you sure it wasn't the Giants?
It's close.
So that was the other play that swung my entire betting fantasy props day, Gary, and was Daniel Jones throwing that fucking pick to Rip Van Winkle, and then all of a sudden, Sammy Scrambles doesn't need to throw anymore. So the Vikings offense just goes into hibernation mode because they don't actually have to do anything on offense anymore. Just don't turn the ball over, and you're going to be fine because obviously the Giants can't score because they're fucking terrible.
Man, the Canadians.
The Montreal Canadiens took the field today. They would have been better with Boom Jeffrion and Jean Beliveau on the field instead of Daniel Jones. It's almost like the Vikings goaded him into creating a faux pocket collapse where Jones could step up and then take off, and the moment he tried to take off, he just got immediately blown up at the line. Like, it happened like 8 times in the game. It was so bad. And then they just stopped throwing to neighbors. Like, you have one guy, hello, neighbor. He should have had 100% of the targets. Just give it to this guy. Maybe he can do something.
Maybe he will.
He looked like the only guy who had life on that team. They kept trying to make Wendale a thing in the red zone. They love that. That doesn't work.
Couldn't run the ball. They couldn't do anything.
Thanks, Tom Brady.
I guess it was a worse performance because Darnold tore them up. But
who's better, Darnold or Carr?
Oh my goodness. I guess Carr, and I really don't like Carr.
I mean, they're in the same. It doesn't really matter who's better. They're just in the same tier.
No.
Would you guys
Carr's
say,
had far more success in his career than Darnold ever has.
But would you guys say? I know we're talking about worst team, but in terms of most embarrassing or worst performance, Cincinnati. It has to be the Bengals, right?
Oh yeah, they just completely were flat. They had zero energy. They were at home, and like I did pick the Patriots on the show. I even said They could be like the year the Jaguars won the first game of the year and then lost 15 straight. Like, that wouldn't have shocked me. I think the Patriots are awful, but they played their best game. It's funny when you finally get a good coach, what can happen?
How dare you take shots at underdogs, Bill Belichick?
I didn't say any names.
But well, we kind of went over this. Like, Jeff is out of Survivor. Tim and I advance. Although the Bills were looking like kind of dicey for a while there. And we'll do the full power rankings on tomorrow's show. It's Seeley, myself. We'll do a full recap, fantasy recap, power rankings, and Monday Night Football preview. If you're wondering, on the Pat Mayo Experience. If you subscribe, rate, and review to the audio version right now, leave that 5-star review. I'm giving one of you lucky people $500 if you do that. So go do it. If you haven't do it, if you want to win $500, I'd suggest you do it. We're giving it on the spread show this week. But I didn't think that New England was super impressive in this game whatsoever. No. Their defense was, it's almost like this Atlanta-Pittsburgh question. Was New England's defense actually good, Garion? Or was, like, with a banged up Chase and no Higgins and Yashmash is like your only healthy guy, like,
and Irwin.
And the crocodile on it, Trenton Irwin running routes for you, and Gesicki dropping touchdowns, like, is the offense just inept? Like, was Burrow not good? Or did the Patriots actually show up and play here? It was hard to tell a lot of the time.
I think the Patriots are probably going to have a top 10 defense. Like, I feel like, yes, they lost Matt Judon. Obviously, they lose Belichick, who gets a lot of credit for the defense for the last 2 decades. But, you know, they just tend to have a good defense. And I feel like a lot of the pieces are still in place from last season, aside from Judon. You know, obviously you bring in Gerard Mayo, who is a defensive guy. I would imagine this is kind of going to be, it's a weird comparison, but sort of like very Jets-ish from last season, where just maybe not as elite a defense, but just very good defense and an offense that cannot move the ball at all. And also, you know, there was some weird stuff with Cincinnati. Obviously, like you said, Gesicki drops that touchdown. You fumble at the goal line. Like, when you really go back and look at the totality of that game, there were a couple weird pivotal plays that go in the wrong direction that probably stopped them from scoring, you know, 23, 24 points. But I would say the lack of weapons for Cincinnati, which no idea. To trust T. Higgins' health is never probably a great thing. It's not something you should probably pin your hopes to. But, you know, Chase wasn't really doing much at training camp. He's obviously working his way back. I feel like I give him a pass this week, and I would just say that the Patriots are one of those teams that, yeah, it's going to suck when you have like a fantasy guy going up against them because they're a great defense, but I don't expect them to score like 25 points in a game this season.
So a few more just fun notes that I noted from the day, just watching every single game, like passively, 8 games at once, just scanning your eyes across it. Devontae Adams not getting helped up, Devontae Adams in like the first quarter ended up like with a first down, kind of did the first down thing, and then he went to the Chargers defender to help him up. The guy put his hand out, pulled it away, and just walked off. And no, thank you. And just walked off. That was fun. Ken Walker, they had a sunset flip on someone on Denver, fucking launched the guy in the air. That was awesome. But the single worst decision of the day, it never made anything else, but I think it is indicative of why Dan Quinn is going to end up being a really terrible coach, Garion. Obviously, it doesn't factor into the final score, but you don't know that at the time, or maybe he did, and he's clairvoyant. But they got it to, 23 to 7. It was 23 to 13 after they scored the Daniels touchdown, or was it the Brian Robinson touchdown or the Daniels touchdown?
Daniels.
The Daniels first touchdown. And then they kicked the extra point and didn't go for 2 to be down by 8. Like, what are you doing?
A minute and a half left in the third quarter, and they decided to kick the extra point.
But like you said, it's probably because it's the third quarter. Why would I do that now? Like, what are you thinking?
Old-timey mentality where he just was taught 20 years ago, you don't think about a 2-point conversion until the fourth quarter, and that's why he did it.
On that note, though, what did you guys think about the Doug Peterson 4th and 1 from your own 30?
I was shocked. I did not see it coming. Everyone in the room was certain that it wasn't going to happen.
Well, no one, like, they may have taken over the mantle of no one runs worse 3rd and 1 and like 4th and short plays than the Jags. They love giving the ball to like random dudes on their team who fucking suck. Like, hey, here's Tank Bigsby. Let's line you up at fullback and try a dive. Oh, next play we're gonna try to run like a big pitch out to Etienne. Like,
Baltimore does that too.
Baltimore loves
terrible plays.
Yeah, like, where's Patrick Ricard? Let's get him on the field. Oh, who's our third tight end? Let's give it to him. They won't see that one coming.
No,
just like you have guys. Brian Thomas was he was a problem.
Yeah, he was.
For
Yeah.
the Dolphins today. It's like, no, let's not run anything to him. Can't do that. Evan Ingram exclusively catches 3-yard passes. You can't throw to him? Does Trevor Lawrence suck, Garion? He gets a pass
I don't think he
for not
sucks.
being terrible, but he's not been good.
I think he's just like average to slightly above average. Like he's still got like there are times when the pocket collapses and he breaks out and you forget like, oh, this is a guy who could actually scramble for 20 yards if he wants to. Like he's that athletic. That throw he made for the Brian Thomas touchdown was fantastic. But they are a couple flashes in a game that was just pretty meh.
I'll tell you,
for
I'm
that Jaguars
glad
offense.
we beat the Rams 3 years ago in that game so that I don't have to sit here and continue to contort myself into a pretzel to keep telling you why Lawrence is better than Patrick Mahomes. Because that's probably what I would be doing right now. if
You
we were
also
on the
wouldn't
Jets.
have to do you don't have to do that, right?
Well, yeah, whatever. Anyway, so now I get to sit
You know
here
what?
with
As a
Rodgers.
member of the team, don't forget, we got this a little bit earlier, but there'll be, I assume that the Jets are getting their rings tomorrow night for their hypothetical Super Bowl championship, but you're a member of the team, so here's your ring, sir.
Thank you very much. And I wear it with pride, and I hope I can wear it and the victory hat next week.
One other note that I have. If you are a player that people think is slow, Garion, in the NFL, like they think you're kind of chunky, it's sort of like the reverse Keenan Allen thing right now where everyone thinks he's a bit heavy. He looks like he hurt his heel again, re-aggravated it towards the end of that game when Williams just made a terrible throw to the back of the end zone to him. But the move is, David Montgomery was a big benefactor of this last year when he went from, I think, 22 to 5.
5, yeah.
5 with the Lions. He looked like svelte and fast all of a sudden.
Faster number, yeah.
Gus Edwards switches from 35 to 4. Guy looks like a different person. Jonnu Smith goes from 81 to number 9 on the Dolphins. He looks like a fucking track star out there all of a sudden.
I agree. I completely agree.
So that's the move. Fat people of the world, just start wearing a 2-number jersey or shirt for like 3 weeks. And then change to like the number 1 or a very skinny number 2. People will think you have lost 80 pounds. Because that's what it looks like on the football field.
I agree.
Pat's tips. That's why the players like to dump the single-digit jerseys so they
Makes
can
them
go
look
back to.
svelte.
So, Garion, I need you to pick. This is our new running segment on the show until we come up with something better. I need you to pick a number between 1 and, let's see, Anthony Barr. Okay. 339.
Let's go with 311.
Oh, 311. Okay. Page 311 of Out of the Darkness, the Aaron Rodgers book. Let's hear what Cuss quarterback has to say. Oh, Wilson got benched for Tim Boyle, and Tim Boyle got benched for Trevor Siemian. He was wearing a headset. Aaron Rodgers' body language kept getting worse and worse. His arms were often folded in front of his midsection with a look of dismay and or disgust on his face. And sometimes he just shook his head as if he were a disappointed dad watching a comedy of little league errors. During the 5th straight defeat, a 13-8 loss to Atlanta, Rodgers and Wilson looked at each other on the sidelines as if they could not believe what they were seeing. Rodgers had a date that night at Zero Bond, a private club in New York's trendy NoHo neighborhood, a 40th birthday party that was attended by an eclectic group of past and present teammates, celebrity pals, and longtime friends who flew from out west, including Joey Kampf, his childhood teammate in Oregon, and Nate Rabb, his partner in consumer growth equity firm, also known as RX3. Late in the event, some guests gave emotional speeches about the man of the hour and what he meant to them. Out of the Darkness, Aaron Rodgers, page 100.
Forgot all about that game.
That loss
But
to
As soon
Atlanta.
as you said 13, I was like, oh, I remember that game. Oh, that was so bad. Ugh.
Let's guess the line.
Isn't it nice to know that Rodgers watched that game just like you watched that game?
Yes, exasperated.
Week 2 spreads. Garion, you get to choose where you want to go this year, as the rules will state. How did the rules go? If you guess it first or second,
2 points.
you get 2 points. And if you win it on the last one, even if you do guess it correctly, you just get 1 point.
Say ça.
So do you want to go first, Garion?
Yeah, I'll go first.
Okay. So, Paul, you're up.
We got the Buffalo Bills at Garion's Miami Dolphins.
So you want to go first, Garion?
Yeah. Okay. I'll say Dolphins by 1.
Nope.
No, you say yes or no?
No.
I'll say Bills by 1.
Nope.
Dolphins by 1.5.
Ding, ding, ding. I think it's only a point when you go third, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Cust is up 1-0. I'm surprised Miami's favored in this game.
I'm not. They both won today. Buffalo had to really fight to come back against a very bad Arizona team.
Yeah.
At home.
Well, yes and no. Arizona had good offense for 20 minutes of the game, and then that was it for
If
them.
you're a Bills fan, you're not feeling great about that
I know,
game.
Paul, you're a
like,
Bills fan. As long as you have Josh, you have a chance, don't you?
Yeah, we always have a chance, but it's going to be incredibly hard to stop Miami's offense next week.
Miami not during the daytime, Garion, I think is an advantage for the Bills.
So I'll say the thing about the Dolphins, like a lot of people are going to walk away from that Dolphins game being like, they only scored 20 points. They had like 6 drives they got across midfield and just didn't score. I think they still got like 450 yards of total offense. So I think they had a better day than maybe you'd think about, but they tend to suck against the Bills. I will say that.
The Bills' defense is worrisome, but where did Marvin Harrison Jr. go? He was the
greatest receiver of all time.
Well, he actually had the game-winning touchdown if Kyler Murray had just seen him. He was just behind the defense going like this. Like on the Kyle Pitts touchdown when he got behind the defense was like, oh,
Yes.
Throw to me. No one's around me by 30 yards. Same thing happened with Marvin Harrison. Kyler's just too little. He's too mini-man to see him.
Kyler played well today, too.
No, he didn't.
I thought he played pretty well.
He played well in the first quarter, and that was it.
Yeah, he had some nice scrambles, but I don't think
did.
he threw the ball particularly well.
So you're up 1-0. So it's my pick first for which game?
Browns at Jags.
Oh, my God. Jags by 2.5.
Nope.
Jags by 3.
Ding, ding, ding.
2 for Cust. Gary doesn't even get to pick.
Cuss, too hot.
Got to feel like this is although Cleveland's defense didn't travel great last year, I wasn't impressed by the Jags offense at all against
No.
Miami. Cleveland clearly has a better defense. This just feels like, how is this not a Thursday night game? This reeks of a Thursday night game. But
Unfortunately, I think people thought highly of Cleveland coming into this season.
They did.
I think that, I mean, it's not that I think poorly of them. I just think Watson sucks, but they're going to win games. Like I said,
Yeah.
the Jets won, 7 games last
did.
year? Cleveland can most definitely
I
win
was
this
against
game.
Cleveland this year on the show because I just said the quarterback holds them back.
But this is the sort of game that they can win, that they need to win to be in the playoff mix.
Yeah, I agree.
I actually like Cleveland in this spot. Next game.
We got the Colts at the Packers.
Ooh,
There is a line.
Are we thinking Malik Willis is playing quarterback, or are they going to bring someone in?
I have to imagine.
I think
so.
he'd have to start. Yeah. Like you can't bring in a new guy. Willis just went through the entire training camp as the backup. Like I feel like you got to give him a
would
start.
have been.
Well, hold on. Well, it doesn't matter what it would have been.
I'm trying to think in my mind how many points this is worth.
So there is one quarterback. I guess there's technically 2 quarterbacks who are out there that you could bring in. Now, Love's only going to miss 3 to 6 weeks, it sounds like, but that doesn't mean he might get re-injured or another quarterback ends up going down. Ryan Tannehill, Garion, your favorite wide receiver, is just sitting at home waiting for someone to call him.
It would be funny for Tannehill to again steal Malik Willis's job. I will grant you that.
And if this Brady thing doesn't work out, call up Brady. Well, he has great ideas. Don't go backwards. Don't take penalties. Score points. That's the
does know which
mentality
direction
that you
to go.
need.
I would have said Packers by 3. I think he's worth 6 points, so I will say.
You think he's worth 6
I
points?
do, actually, because Malik Willis is not good. And so I will then say Indianapolis by 3.
Ding, ding, ding.
Wow.
This is what happens when we don't feed Cuss something from the air fryer and he doesn't burn himself. He's like laser
we might have to
I'm
focused.
not distracted
We
by
might have to
food.
get the air fryer back out if Gus is going to run the table on us.
If you guys want Tim to eat something during this show, like please put it in the comment section. We don't really have any ideas
here. I don't know how many good quotes are going to be in this Aaron Rodgers book. He's like, I made my own toothpaste and rubbed it on my forehead. It's like, oh, great, Aaron, thanks. He's like, I was in the darkness. I was born in the shadows. Next game.
We got the Chargers at the Panthers.
Gary, and you're up, pal.
I'm gonna say Chargers by 5.
Nope.
Chargers by 4.5.
Ding, ding, ding.
I was going to go the other way. Interesting.
Now, they were just getting, they were only 4-point dogs in New Orleans today.
But they looked so
Yeah, but
bad.
no one thinks New Orleans is good.
I know.
So, flip it around that way.
Well, the Chargers, win by margin. That's asking a lot. So you
They-
got to take those Panthers and take those points.
Pizzolla's just going to be on how great the Panthers are.
No.
For 17 weeks, they're going to be 0-17.
No, the Chargers are a phenomenal survivor play next
I
week.
mean, the Chargers won by margin today.
That's what I
Yeah.
mean. Against a better team than the Panthers.
And the Chargers' defense wasn't great, but their red zone defense was really good.
Yep.
Like they didn't break at any points. They kept holding them to field
Although,
goals.
did you see that Bosa? I don't think he left the game technically, but he was like stretching on the sideline late because he like clearly tweeted something.
Doesn't play. Just doesn't play.
Out of all the teams that we said so far, like that kind of got beat down. So we have Cleveland, Carolina. Cleveland feels like the most like prime for like a bounce back to like look like a reasonable team.
Yes,
I think Dallas is way better than Jacksonville.
Yeah, I agree.
Carolina bounce back, Garion?
I'm not buying that. No.
All right, next game.
Raiders at Ravens.
Boy, Ravens by Ravens. The Ravens closed at 3 this week, or 3.5. It was 3, right?
Something like that.
In Kansas City. So that was against Kansas City. The Raiders would be what, 7-point dogs? I'll say Ravens by 6.5.
Nope.
7.5.
Nope.
There.
I'll say 7.
8.5. So
Wow.
I guess
All
Tim
right,
gets
7.5.
Top Cat
Force
gets it.
Garion, if I was wrong, to make a choice, go above or below.
1 point to Cust on that one. Feels like the right
Ravens
number.
have extra rest, and you have like the West Coast team coming east.
And
Like
the Ravens love running train on shit teams.
Yeah.
The Raiders look bad.
Minshew's going to be having a bad time.
Like the Raiders defense was supposed to be the thing that carried them.
And they didn't play badly.
They gave up 150 yards of J.K. Dobbins, although they were able to track him down at the end.
They certainly were. Okay.
And Quentin Johnson had like 5 catches. Although you pointed out every time he dropped the ball.
No, it's just he loves to drop the ball.
Next game.
I'm pulling a Tom Brady over here with the pregnant pauses. All right, we got the Saints at the Cowboys.
Oh boy.
You're up.
Cowboys by 3.5.
Nope.
Cowboys by 6.
Nope.
That was going to be my guess. Cowboys by 6.5.
Ding, ding, ding.
Really?
You got to think about the Carolina line wasn't that big. No one thinks the Saints are good. And you have to, and the Tom Brady game, America's game of the week, Dallas just laid the smackdown on a team
dogs in Cleveland.
They were dogs and fucking beat them by 30.
I know, but anyway, all right.
Do I get 1 or 2 for that? Just 1, right?
Just one. You picked last.
Picked last. All right, next game. I like Dallas there.
We got the Giants at the Commanders.
Oh God. Is this me?
Yeah, it's you.
I'm gonna go pretty straight down Main Street here. I'm gonna say Commanders by 3.
Nope.
Commanders 3.5.
Nope.
Commanders by 4.
It's 2.5.
2.5.
So
Really?
Garion gets it with his first pick.
Garion's on the board. 6-3-1. Like the world is taking Washington in that game.
Oh, yeah.
2.5. Are they baiting us?
Kind of.
I can
That
talk
seems like a
myself.
very. If 80% of the public is on the Commanders, I might just have to pick the Giants at a
No,
sheer.
you don't have to. You just
Just-
not touch the game. You could just leave it and not have to bet on Danny Dimes.
That is also true.
Like
You'll have a slush here, too, on that
No,
game.
I don't want anything to do with
the
that
Giants look so bad today against the Vikings defense, which we still think is pretty bad, right?
game. Yes, I only want the Commanders in that game. I really don't want the Giants.
All right, next one.
Somebody suggested that Tim orders takeout live on the show
We
every.
did that already.
No, but like every week.
No, but then we have to like spend money, and then we have to wait for someone to
It's
come
true,
to the
'cause
door.
Tim's not gonna spend
and
the
they,
money.
And they might come. They might not come.
He
to
just
the
wants
door.
free
They might
eats.
come to the door out there, and then we have to go track them down. Like that's a hassle.
It is a hassle.
I liked your idea of buying that. I'll buy that thing from Costco.
There's
and
an
Gus can
apo-
try a new item from it every week.
It looks real bad.
Would you do that?
Oh, sure.
The reviews are
survival-
terrible.
Yeah.
It's like
the
the
survival package.
Yeah, I do. that.
Costco has the apocalypse pack, and it's like
Oh
25-year shelf life on this food.
Yeah, I tried.
And you have to like mix it with water so it's edible.
Perfect.
Sure.
Get some
Well,
tang
Tim
in
is,
you.
Tim's a
Hard bread.
survivalist. He's a man of the land.
He
Exactly.
is
Great for him.
a great endorsement.
Who are we saying was doing OnlyFans earlier? Kathy Bates? Is that what I said?
You might have said
Yeah,
that.
the original bean flicker herself, Kathy Bates, Garion.
Matlock.
The Matlock Expressway. The old people then in that Simpsons episode 30 years ago were all about Matlock. What game are we doing?
Who's picking?
You want the next game?
Yeah, sure.
We got
think
the Jets at the Titans.
Jets at Titans, and there is a line for this.
There's a line.
Jets by 2.5.
Nope.
Jets by 3.5.
Nope.
Jets by 3.
Jets by 4.
Jumbo Jets. What if they get beat by 40 on Monday night?
Oh, no. They'll beat San Francisco by 21, and then they'll lose to the Titans. A
Yeah.
la Notre Dame.
Yeah, those.
That would shock me.
Titans D. maybe okay, or Caleb Williams is bad.
If you told me they were going 1-1 for the first 2 weeks, I would say, oh yeah, we're going to win Monday and then lose to the Titans. That makes sense.
Who's the Jets' backup?
Tyrod Taylor.
Tyrod.
That's not the worst.
It's really not. It's better than who did we just mentioned?
Tim
Boyle, Trevor Siemian, and Zach Wilson.
Brees Hall's value will go through the roof if Rodgers gets hurt.
7-3-1 for Tim, who has the first pick in whatever the next game is.
We got the Seahawks at the Pats.
Early game, too, by the way.
Yeah.
Seahawks couldn't fucking cover. Had to push.
Seahawks by 3.
Ding, ding, ding.
We're getting smoked by Tim here. Jumping out to a big lead here, Garion. Seahawks win this game, right? The Seahawks look bad in the first half. Granted, they did take 2 safeties.
The Patriots could win, and we could be talking about, the Patriots secretly good?
No,
I
don't think that's going to come up. We watched the game the Patriots fans showed up today, Garion, and it was the one game that wasn't on. It's like, yeah, I'd rather watch Carolina and the Saints, like whatever. I don't really care what happens in the Patriots-Bengals game. It sounds like a very sad game. You made us turn it on, and then like every 2 minutes, you just hit Tim and man. It's secret going playoffs. Like, it's so good.
Very excited. Very excited. And I wouldn't be shocked if they're 2-0 going into New York on a Thursday night in 2 weeks.
And beat them.
And then they're 3-0. So here we go.
It's all happening again.
Yeah.
So it's your pick.
I love that the Jets can go 17-0 and 0-17 in Tim's mind at any given time.
Oh, yeah, you picked first. Garian's pick. Seattle at New England.
I just picked that game. Correct.
Oh, no, he got that one.
I hit it exact.
He hit it. He dinged it. He got.
It was -3.
Yeah, I hit it exact.
He nailed it on the first pick.
I thought you nailed Jets Titans on the first pick.
No, I had that on the end.
Oh, yeah.
He's just been nailing multiples.
You're nailing multiples?
We got to get some apocalypse food in this guy to slow him down a little bit.
Next game for Garian's pick.
All right, we got the Niners at the Vikings.
Niners at the Vikings. I'll say Niners by 4.5.
Nope.
Niners by 6.5.
Nope.
San Francisco by 5.5.
That's correct. Ding, ding, ding.
Sam Darnold revenge game.
That's true. He'll know that defense.
Short week? I don't know.
I will love the Niners in that game.
Niners could quickly be 0-2.
Especially if they do not look good on Monday night. It'll be, it's a short week. They're going to be 0-2, the season from hell, and they'll absolutely annihilate the Vikings. That's the game where Darnold will throw the pick.
And he will.
Yeah.
Sooner or later. It's coming. Viking fans know it didn't happen this week, but it's coming.
Yeah. I mean, I like him in general because he's fun.
I'm not cheering against him. I actually would like to see him do well. Same with Geno. Same with any former Jets QB. I want them to do well.
No one was prepared for the Geno Smith 39-yard juke touchdown. No. It was like, whoa, where'd that come from?
Did not expect that.
Old man Geno. He was probably 29 years old. Jacoby Brissett. How old do you think Jacoby Brissett is, Garion? We figured this out today.
32.
He's 31.
We were shocked by that.
I'm older than Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah. He looks like he's 50 for one thing.
Yeah.
But doesn't it feel like maybe he has been around for 10 years?
But he has been.
I mean, that would make sense. He was 21 when he came in. He's 31 now. It feels like he's ancient.
I agree. We were all shocked. I would have said 35.
There's 10 early games next week.
Yeah, I like when they stack the early games.
Now, that's too many. Give us 4. Give us 4. I like when there's 5 in the afternoon. Yeah. Especially because I'm going to be traveling during the set of games.
I get that.
So we're into the late set of games now?
There's one more in the early set of games. It's the Bucks at the Lions.
Lions by 3.5.
Nope.
Fuck.
That game, is it me?
Yes. Yes, I believe so.
It's Tim.
6.
Nope.
I'll say 5.
6.5. So Tim gets the point.
I think that's what the spread was when they played in the playoffs, was 6 or 6.5.
11, 3, and 1 for Tim right now. If you missed it earlier, we will give you the refresh. Tim has selected Jamison Williams to not score the first touchdown tonight, and Kittle Me Timbers to not score the first touchdown against the Jets on Monday Night Football. A banger, 2 for 1 coming at you, and I'll be back on Monday with Sealy and a golf show with Raza as well. So tons coming on the Pat Mayo Experience. Leave your rating, review, and subscribe to the audio podcast, 5 stars, and get yourself in that draw for $500 and use code Mayo at Underdog Fantasy. Late games, Paul.
We got the Rams at the Cardinals.
It's me first?
Yep.
Or is it Tim first?
Maybe it's...
I just went on the
No,
line.
it's
Tim's
Tim's
first.
Tim's first.
Rams at Cardinals. Rams by 4.5.
Nope.
Rams by 2 and... Oh, it's not me. Go ahead, Gary.
Yeah. Rams by 3.
No.
Rams by 2.5.
Ding, ding, ding.
I was going to be right either way. There we go. 4 for me. I have no real. I want to see the Rams play tonight.
Yeah.
Next one.
Bengals at Chiefs.
We think Higgins is back, right?
Yeah. I'm definitely taking the
I'm going to
Bengals this week.
say Chiefs by 4.5.
Nope.
Chiefs by 6.
Ding, ding, ding.
So that's
2 for me. Well, I have to run the table here for the comeback, I think. Next one. Hit me.
Steelers at Broncos.
God. Steelers by 1.
Nope.
Steelers by 2.
Nope.
Steelers by 3.
Ding, ding, ding.
Steelers by 3. Wow, that's a big
Broncos
shift.
looked real bad.
They're a
Steelers
They look
good.
really good, and they're a
Like-
public team. No, I completely understand what you're saying.
Team is on, I guess, Denver with the full 3. That'll go off at 2, 2.5, I
One
would
would
guess.
think.
It's
Also,
just funny
TJ
that-
Watt versus Bo Nix is going to be hilarious.
Yes, you would think.
Yeah, but he gets the ball out so quickly with his little dump offs. Little dinks and
I
dunks.
guess they don't care who's playing quarterback for Pittsburgh.
No, it's probably very equal. If Fields isn't turning the ball over, he is a better option than Russell Wilson is.
I think
Because he
so.
did everything that Russell Wilson. What Fields did today is what they expected from Russell Wilson.
Yep.
Like just
I feel
make
like Russ was sneaky fine last year.
He was, but his whole game was check downs and don't turn the ball over, which is exactly
Yeah.
what Fields did today, except he brings the explosiveness with his legs, and he took a few shots downfield to Pickens, and Pickens went and got the ball.
Yeah.
That's a big shift from being 4-point dogs to Atlanta to being 3-point favorites on the road
It
all
is.
of a sudden.
It is.
I might have to zag back to Denver there. We'll see. Next game.
Bears at Texans.
God, this is Sunday Night Football. Can I pick first and pick Houston by 31?
Sure.
Incorrect.
Texans by 5.5.
Nope.
I'll just say Texans by 6.
Nope.
Yeah, I'm going to say 6.5 to get the point, but is it 9?
It's 6.5.
No, it is 6.5. I love the Texans.
I do too.
Unless the Bears defense scores 21 points for them again.
Yeah. Low scoring game, maybe they lose by 5 or 6. But
Like-
yeah, I think you're right.
I
Texans
didn't think
gotta
that the
be-
Texans played particularly well today, and
They didn't.
And the Colts offense was much better than what we saw from the Bears offense. Now the Bears are going on the road.
Yeah.
Tough scene.
I agree.
And that Monday Night Football game is the last one left, and it's to Garion or me. Made Garion to you?
Doesn't matter.
Is it me?
Yeah, it's Atlanta at Philly.
Atlanta at Philly.
I'll say Eagles by 7.
Nope.
Oh, I was going to say Eagles by 3.5.
Nope.
Eagles by 6.
Ding, ding, ding.
It's a lot of points.
People are saying in the chat that we could do something called like Cuss Does, and you would start with doing a cartwheel because we've been waiting 10 years for that.
Hey, wait. You think we're going to get him to try to tackle Derrick Henry and do a cartwheel, stuff he just talks about but doesn't do? It's never
He
going to
said
happen.
he could beat Jamarcus
That's
Russell in the
the last
100 meters
episode of the
today.
Mayo
He did say, Gary, on this morning's show that he could beat Jamarcus Russell in a 40-yard dash because he said that, quote, Jamarcus Russell's a pretty big guy now.
He was always a pretty big guy. Oh, I see. Yeah, okay. I see what you're saying.
Do you
Oh,
think
God.
you could beat the former number 1 overall pick?
Honestly, no, I actually don't.
What do you think his 40 time is right now?
Probably like a mid 5.
It's probably faster than that.
Probably a mid 5. Yeah,
I have no
5'2",
idea what he
maybe.
looks like, but what do you think his 40 time was coming
probably
out?
like a 4.8.
I think it was faster than that. It was a 4.83.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
he was a big guy.
I
even
really
at
didn't
LSU.
give it much thought, and the more I thought about it, I was like, no, I really could not beat him.
Yeah, we did
What
watch
did you run 6 years ago at the
It's,
Super Bowl?
it's
then?
disputed, but like we're gonna go with 6.8 as the number.
Oh, Cooking with Cust, where you just bring your recipes and talk us through how to make things in the microwave.
I could do that. Microwave cookery for one.
Oh, Weber?
Oh,
Amazing.
this is a good one too. Quentin suggests we play instead of guessing the spreads, we can do that, but we can also do a segment called Supermarket Sweep, where Tim Too Rich has to guess the price of things.
Again, that's the Price is Right.
Ooh.
That's what they do on the Price is
I
Right.
mean, I feel like we could do that game pretty easily.
I like that.
We could.
Watch out for Cam because he'll try to tell you the price of like what he switches the stickers to at the grocery store, what he pays for it.
Oh my.
You can do that too if you want to save money.
No.
Cam truly is just that guy. I can't even remember his name, but the Simpsons episode, the one where they go to Japan because of the Super Saver Club or whatever. He's like, those corporate fat cats.
Well, everyone enjoy Sunday Night Football. Thanks for tuning in with us today. I always like this show.
It's fun.
Garion, you always got to be here. Do you just want to do this every week? Good, thank you.
Okay, we'll see. I can do it a lot. I don't know if I can do it every week, but I can. I'll be
Listen,
here.
as much as you want to do it, you can be the permanent co-host. You're our favorite person to do the show with. So whenever you can do it, it's your spot. You let me know, and then we can weave people in and out.
Okay, that's fair.
And we'll get Jared, the intern, on from behind the camera talking sometime. People can understand what he's saying.
Tell us more very popular TV shows that he's never heard of.
Well, he's not a geezer like you, pal.
No. Probably doesn't know what the Rockford Files is, does he?
I would
You
guess
ever watch
no.
the Rockford Files?
No, I haven't watched the Rockford Files. Cust.
Oh,
God, man.
such a good show.
When
I
do
don't
you?
know why, but
It's
your
James
intro
Garner.
is
James
just
Garner's a huge
saying
star.
Cust with so much
How long has
disdain.
James Garner been dead for?
Probably 6 or 7 years.
Well, let's look that up too. James Garner died in 2014. So yes, he's been dead for 10 years only. So that's pretty close for you
Yeah,
when you
not
say the Rockford Files. What date do you think the Rockford Files premiered, Garion?
I'm gonna say 1968.
No.
Nine-
no. In the 70s.
That's a big
I would
decade.
have said like 74.
What year did it go off the air?
83.
80. 7 years before you were born.
Has one of the greatest theme songs of all time. If you ever listen to the Rockford Files theme song, it's great.
Make it your ringtone. Remember when ringtones were a thing?
I do.
Jared, did you ever have a ringtone?
You ever buy a ringtone?
Yeah, you ever buy a ringtone for $3.99?
I did that.
Because there was that commercial that had push it.
Yes,
And
exactly.
then everyone had push it as the ringtone forever. God, ringtones. Imagine answering your phone. Ugh. Nut low.
I did
Imagine
it
having
the
your
other day
phone not on just buzz or vibrate.
on Buzz.
Buzz.
Did the Rams score yet?
Well,
No.
as Garion is the permanent part-time co-host, he's like Joan Collins was for the Tonight Show. No, Joan Rivers, and sometimes
You're even forgetting your own.
and
stupid
sometimes
references.
Paul Newhart when he was.
See, when you're as old as you are, you start mixing the things up in your
Did you see the
mind.
Tonight Show's going to 4 nights a week?
No, I didn't. Tim.
That's like big entertainment news that they're only going to 4 nights a week.
Who hosts the Tonight Show?
Still Jimmy Fallon.
Oh fuck.
It makes
Can I
sense.
rather have a bullet in the brain than know that?
I think the Friday night show probably wasn't doing that well.
I bet you none of it's doing that well. They all lose to your boy Gutfield.
Oh, just he's the only game in town for people who don't want to be preached at by Colbert or preached at by Kimmel.
That is Tim's guy, Garion.
No, it's not my
Gutfield.
guy. I don't even watch the show, but like,
I just every time I'm scrolling through the channel and it just the exclamation point always gets me.
All right, that'll do it on the Pat Mayo Experience. Thank you for tuning in. Enjoy yourself some Sunday Night Football. I will be back. I'm actually doing mini recap shows in the morning on the Fantasy Football Picks and Bets feed, but it's also up on Mayo Media Network. It's just info. There's no fun stuff on it, but if you want to get everything that happened in 5 or 6 minutes, it's something I'm going to be trying to do this year for, I think, 3 or 4 days a week to make sure that you're up to date. But I will have the full recap show with Jake tomorrow and Team Power Rankings and the golf picks. That's me, Tim, and Jeff again for the spread picks. The coin will be here too, and I'll have that giveaway winner. So subscribe, rate, and review the Pat Mayo Experience audio podcast. All right. Thank you all for watching. I'm Pat Mayo. Did Jameson Williams score a touchdown?
no, I don't know. I didn't look.
I'll see you next time.